declare the ordinary meeting of council opened at right on 6:30. This meeting is conducted in accordance with the governance rules of the Borough of Queenscliff, adopted in accordance with the Section 60 of the Local Government Act of 2020. This meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wadawurrung people, and we wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We extend that respect to all members of our community. We have a special guest, or not guest, our new CEO that's starting her first meeting today. So I would like to welcome Jane Grover to her first meeting of council for the Borough of Queenscliff. Yeah.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor, I would like to extend my gratitude for the councillors for making me feel so welcome. Also, I look forward to working with the community, and I've met a number of you here today, and thank you for making me feel so welcome. I also want to acknowledge the team that I'm leading and look forward to working with you. I appreciate everyone's support while I transition into this role, and over the coming months, as I brought up to speed on the strategic projects that are a focus in line with the Council Plan 25-29 and understanding the background, your support over the coming month is really appreciated, and thank you, Mayor, for the welcome. Thank you.
We'll start off with the apologies and present. We'll have all councillors present other than Councillor Isabel Tolhurst, which is an apology tonight. And we have the set of officers here tonight from Manager of Community Regulatory Services, Tim Crawford, Gihan, and we have Stuart Hanson, Jackie Fletcher, and we have Jenny and also McKenna. Thank you. There's no item 3, conflicts of interest. Are there any councillors and officers have any conflicts of interest to declare? No? Thank you. There's no declarations required. Okay. Item 4, leave of absence. Are there any requests for leave of absence? No? Thank you. Item 5, public question time. Item 5.1, public question status update. There's no public questions that are outstanding. So we'll move to item 5.2, public questions. Let's get started. Public question number 1 from Keith Stowers. Is he here tonight? No? So we'll send his question to, since he's not here, I'll read it out and then we can get a response, and we'll email them a response as well. Question from Keith is, should the Borough of Queenscliff implement an immediate condition in its events risk management procedures to ensure infrastructure is not similarly placed under a tree canopy or within the potential fall line of a tree? And enhance policy CP 057, vegetation management, to state the actual process of mitigating against the risk of falling tree debris in and around our parks. A response from the Manager of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mayor Grigau, and good evening, councillors. Thanks for the question, Mr Stowers. Council's risk mitigation measures include the inspection of every tree within the park by a Level 5 arborist in the immediate lead up to the Queenscliff Music Festival each year. All recommendations made by the Level 5 arborist are formally recorded and are actioned prior to the festival. Council considers that this mitigation measure adequately addresses the risk in accordance with Council's risk management policy, and with respect to the vegetation management policy, CP 057, procedures are being developed across the 5 management areas that are identified within the policy. The procedure currently under development for the Parks and Gardens management area will address how Council will mitigate potential impact to tree health while utilising community parks for events. Thank you.
Move on to public question number 2 from the PLCA. Is someone here from there? No. Their question is, with respect to the planning scheme amendment VC 267, townhouse and low-rise code guide for residents, outlined in the City of Greater Geelong attachment below, what changes, if any, with this latest amendment have on our planning in the borough, including current building height controls, existing overlays, neighbourhood character, site coverages, building setbacks, overshadowing and overlooking provisions and controls in heritage precincts? Response from the Manager of Community and Regulatory Services.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the question, PLCA. With respect to the planning scheme amendment V267, sorry, I'm reading the question. I'll start again. Amendment V267 was made operational in all planning schemes in Victoria by the state government in March 2025. The amendment related to new standards for the processing and assessment of multi-dwelling development up to 3 stories in height. Amendment VC267 introduced by dot point deemed to comply standards for certainty and speed, reducing front setbacks and private open space requirements, adjusting site coverage, tree canopy and overshadowing rules, removing qualitative neighbourhood character assessments in favour of measurable standards, streamlining approvals and limiting third-party appeal rights when standards are met. And I guess to the point of your question, despite the above changes, there have been no change to the existing provisions of the heritage overlays and design and development overlays in the Queenscliff planning scheme. The changes in VC 267 do not alter any of the standards or requirements relating to heritage considerations, existing height controls, setbacks and site coverage of those overlays, and any multi-dwelling development still needs to meet the applicable requirements. Amendment VC 267 also limited appeal rights against certain standards if those standards were met related to the multi-dwelling provisions. Whilst that is the case under the particular provisions impacted by VC 267, being clause 55, appeal rights continue to exist under the heritage and design and development overlays where these apply to the land.
Thank you, Tim. Public question number 3 from the QCA. David. No, sorry. Yeah, sure.
Formally welcome the new CEO, Jane, to office.
So your question is, in the interest of transparency, can the annual renewal plans for the 2024-25 and the 25-26 be made available, and can a few notable items from this year's renewal plan be identified tonight from the current renewal plan and expected expenditure figures for 2026? So we've got the response from the Manager of Infrastructure Environment.
Thank you, Mayor Gregor, and thank you to the QCA. The Buildings Annual Asset Renewal Program, or AARP, budget is informed by Council's 3-year yearly asset condition assessments and asset renewal modelling. The renewal modelling assists Council to understand the average renewal demand on a building network level. The 25-26 budget for the Buildings AARP is $200,000. A works program informed by condition data is developed to this value based on estimated costs for works. If any budget allocated to the AARP budget is unspent at the end of the financial year, it is transferred to the Asset Renewal Reserve. The reserve is then available to fund renewal projects, ensuring that Council is funding the average renewal demand over the long term. In the 24-25 financial year, the total buildings AARP spend was $265,000. At times, renewal needs outside of the planned program may escalate in priority for unforeseen circumstances. In these instances, some of the projects noted on the program may be reprioritised and deferred to a subsequent program. The library roof renewal, mentioned in your question, was an example of the project that was deferred from 24-25 to the current year. Notable items from the current year's program include the replacement of community hall carpet, plant renewal in the form of hot water services at the boat ramp toilets, community hall, the Taj Tourist Park toilet block, heating, ventilation and cooling renewals, including at the kindergarten, the Monaghan Centre, and Taj Tourist Park amenities block, Royal Park South amenities block, and the library roof replacements. The building renewal program is not yet available for the 26-27 financial year, as the budget is currently in the process of being drafted and yet to be endorsed by council.
Thank you, Stuart. Up to... Yes, yes.
Just to clarify, so can we see the 2 years reports again?
Oh, we can send them out to you. Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Right, item 6, confirmation of the minutes. 6.1, ordinary meeting of the 25th of February 2026. I've got a recommendation that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 25th of February 2026 be confirmed as an accurate record. Do I have a mover?
Yes, I move it.
Yes, Councillor Rule. A seconder, Councillor Cameron. All those in favour? Passed, thank you. Item 6.2, confidential minutes of the 25th of February 2026. A recommendation that the confidential minutes of the confidential council meeting held on the 25th of February 2026 be confirmed as an accurate record. Do I have a mover?
I'll move the recommendation as a motion.
Yes, okay, thank you. Yes, do I have a seconder? Yes. And what's your motion on the confidential minutes? No, I can move the, okay, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed, thank you. Item 7, record of informal meetings. A record of informal meetings of the council is included in the adjunct item 7. There's the 25th of February 2026 Council Assembly briefing, and there's 11th of March 2026 Council Assembly briefing. I've got a recommendation that council notes there's a record of informal meetings of councillors. Do I have a mover? Yes, Councillor Monaghan. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? Passed unanimously, thank you. Item 8, notice of motion. Status update, 8.1. Yes?
Rather than the recommendation, I have a motion to move here, as there is an inaccuracy in the adjunct. I move that the notice of motion status update be altered to reflect the council resolution of the ordinary council meeting held on the 25th of February, and I note that there are actually 4 resolutions to that motion.
Do I have a seconder? Yeah, Councillor Monaghan. All those in favour? Passed unanimously, thank you. The 8.2, there's no notice of motion, so we can move on to item 9, petitions and joint letters. There's no petitions or joint letters, so we can move on to item 10, functions attended. A recommendation that council notes the functions attended by councillors.
I have some alterations to that list. On the 21st of February, I also attended the opening of Riptide at Cottage by the Sea. On the 23rd of February, I also attended the launch of TGGB's advertising program. On the 5th of March, I attended the official opening of the Maritime Museum Week on board the Elmer Dopal. I note Councillor Griggar was also present that night. On the 7th of March, I attended the official opening of the Queenscliff Hotel, as did councillors Gregow and Cameron. And I also attended the Crackerjack Fair on the 8th of March and the Ballerine Agricultural Fair, although I missed the woodchop.
Would you like
Did you have a...
Yeah,
Yes.
I will go through as well. On the 21st of February, I also attended the cottage. Sorry. On the 21st of February, I also attended the Riptide grand opening of Cottage by the Sea, and I also attended on the 8th of March the Crackerjack Fair. Thank you.
Councillor Monahan? You need to- So recommendation that we... sorry. Item 10, sorry. Recommendation council notes the functions attended with the alterations as spoken. Do I have a mover?
Yes,
Councillor
Councillor Rule.
Rule. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Monahan. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed unanimously. Thank you. Item 11, CEO report. We got a recommendation that council receives and notes the Chief Executive's report of March 2026. Do I have a mover?
I move it.
Yes, I have a seconder?
And,
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, I'd just like to
Motion.
speak and agree with the CEO's assessment of the Queenscliff Maritime Festival. It was a wonderful event and there were so many people in the town, and I think we should all be very proud of what went on during that week.
Through you, Councillor, and following on from Councillor, I've just got some stats which I think are really important to understand. The Queenscliff Maritime Museum sold 844 tickets. The interesting stat was 45% were locals, 31% were from the Greater Geelong Peninsula, and the rest were from Greater Melbourne. So when you think about our community vision, about our economy, our community, maritime and military heritage, it really support those pillars. And across the weekend on the harbour, there were in excess of 5,500 people, and we've received really strong feedback from the community. But please note we're doing an assessment of the event, and we'll share that information with you. But overall, it was a fabulous weekend and really strong outcomes for the Borough of Queenscliff.
Councillor Monahan, do you have any questions, anything to discuss? Right. I'd like to say again, thank you for your first report, CEO, and would actually like to again thank Michael Tudball for sort of passing the making the transition smooth during the interim. Thank you. So item 12, building the borough.
Sorry, Mayor,
yes.
point of order. If we could just get
Sorry. That was Councillor Monahan.
Excellent.
Yes, and then all those in favour? Thank you.
Thank you.
So item 12, building the borough. So item 12.1, planning permit activity report. A recommendation that council receives and notes the report. Planning permit report. Do I have a mover?
Yes, I move the recommendation as a motion.
Yes.
Yeah,
Seconder?
seconded.
Yeah. Any discussions? Anything?
I didn't catch who seconded that.
I did.
So, Councillor Rule, do you have any questions? Anything? That's it. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed unanimously. Item 12.1, Queenscliff Museums Partnership Advisory Committee, terms of reference. We have a recommendation? Or do you want
Yes,
to
I move the recommendation as a motion.
Yes. Would like me to read? So it's 1, endorses the Queenscliff Museums Partnership Advisory Committee, terms of reference as presented, and 2, notes the priority deliverables for its first years of 2026 to 2027. Do we have a mover?
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, Councillor Rule. Have a seconder. Get Councillor Monaghan. Is any like to speak to it? No. Councillor, like to vote on this? All those in favour? Thank you. Pass unanimously. Thank you. Item 13, running the borough. It's item 13.1, delegations. There's a recommendation on this table. Anyone would like a motion? No. So the recommendation is that one, that council in exercises of the power conferred by the legislation referred to in the attached instrument of delegation to members of council staff involves that A, there are delegated to the members of council staff holding, acting in or performing the duties of the officers or positions referred to in the attached instrument of delegation to members of council staff. The powers, duties and functions set out in the instrument subject to the conditions, the limitations specified in that instrument. And B, instrument comes into force immediately upon this resolution being made and is being signed by the council's CEO and the mayor. C, on coming into force of the instrument of all previous delegations of members of council staff other than the CEO are revoked. D, duties and functions set out in the instrument must be performed and the powers set out in the instruments must be executed in accordance with any guidelines or policies that council that it may from time to time adopt. And 2, that council in the exercise of power conferred by S 437 2 in the Environment Protection Act of 2017 and the instrument of delegation of the Environment Protection Authority under the Act dated the 4th of June 2021 resolves that A, there be delegated to the members of council staff holding and acting and performing the duties of the officers or positions referred to in the attached instrument of delegation to members of council staff, the powers, duties and functions set out in the instrument subject to the conditions and limitations specified in that instrument. B, the instrument comes into force immediately upon this resolution being made and is signed by the council's CEO and the mayor. C, the duties and functions set out in the instrument must be performed and the powers set out in the instruments must be executed in accordance with any guidelines or policies that council that it may from time to time adopt. Now, do I have a mover of this recommendation? Councillor Rule, do I have a seconder?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron, would you like to speak to motion? No? Would you like to speak to motion? I'd like to put this to a vote. All those in favour? Yes. Pass unanimously. Thank you. Item 13.2, VGLA, which is the Victorian Local Governance Association membership. There's a recommendation that the council reinstates its membership with the Victorian Local Governance Association, VLGA. 2, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to write to the Victorian Local Governance Association, VLGA, informing them of the council's decision, and notes officers will include the appropriate budget allocation for VLGA membership fee in the draft 2026-2027 budget. Do I have a mover on this recommendation?
I move the motion.
Yes.
Councillor Rule.
Do I have a seconder?
Yes.
I'd like to speak to the...
Yes, I would like to speak to the motion. Thank you, Mayor. The VLGA has provided in the last 12 months some very good training for councillors, and under the Local Government Act that is compulsory that we attend certain training. Councillor Monaghan and I attended the Municipal Association Victoria training last year, and this year I attended the VLGA training as Deputy Mayor. the VLGA training was excellent.
You mean sort
In
of
re-
2025, and then the previous year you attended at
Oh, sorry, yes.
2024, yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
we're in
okay.
26 now, sorry. Thank
okay.
you. So I do think that it's appropriate that we resubscribe to our membership with the VLGA. I'd like to put on notice a suggestion that we look carefully at our membership with the MAV, which I understand is some $19,000 per year. The dealings that I've had with the MAV have not been anywhere near as good as those with the VLGA and the Rural
Councils of Victoria.
Council. Is that what they're called? The
RCV.
RCV, the Rural Council of Victoria. It would seem to me that the Rural Council of Victoria and the VLGA service our needs far more than the MAV does. And I think that was evident in the State Council meetings that I attended last year, in 2025. And the fact that most of those motions relate to metropolitan issues and have very little to do with our day-to-day business. We also found that the MAV were very slow in picking up on any of the issues that LGAs of our size find an issue. In particular, the emergency services tax, where they took so long to reach a position on what they were going to advocate to the government, and similarly things such as potholes on Victorian roads. So just flagging, MAV, I'd like to look at that in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the seconder. Seconded. Thank you. As a discussion, I can concur with the Deputy Mayor rule that it does appear that MAV actually doesn't service our needs as a sort of regional rural council. They're very city-centric, especially when I attended the mayoral training back in December last year. And there was, just the talk between other sort of similar councils like ourselves was we were not properly represented. There's not one rural councillor on their board, representation, and that's why it ends up being very city-centric. So I would fully support council rules sort of foreshadowing that we need to be looking at our membership and also due to our costs, because we back in the last council we had to go and cut some cost cutting regarding our membership, and we were looking back at that, and unfortunately VLGA was the one that was cut. But it's proven to the fact that that the training and the service is like, when you pay a fee, you expect a level of service back from a provider that is value for money, and you're getting sort of a good service. So I'd be very happy to be reviewing the MAV's membership. So I'd like to put this motion to the vote. Sort of all those in favour? All those against? No. Okay, it's passed unanimously. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. 13.3, we've got the strategic indicators. There's a... Sorry. Lost my to up. Got a recommendation that Council adopts the strategic indicator performance measures for the Council of Plan 2025-26. I was got an officer, anybody like to speak to it? Before, is there any questions before we put it? Okay, the recommendation. Okay, I'll put a mover for that. Anyone?
Yes, I'll move.
Okay, move it, Councillor Cameron. Seconder? Councillor Monahan. So, like to speak to the motion?
No, I'm fine.
Recommendation, sorry. Councillor. So, okay, no discussion. Okay, I'd like to put it to a vote then. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Item 14, questions without notice. 14.1. There's questions without notice status update. There's no questions without notice are outstanding. Thank you. That's 14.2 questions without notice. Call on, there's any questions without notice, anyone? To the CEO or myself? No, thank you. So item 15, list of council meetings. The planning review meeting is going to be is scheduled for the Wednesday, the 8th of April, 2026 at 6 p.m. if required. And then at 6:30, the next ordinary meeting of council will be Wednesday, the 22nd of April at 6:30 here, at 6:30 at Ring Ring here. Thank you. Or at the Queenscliff Hub to be confirmed. So items 16, we've got moving to a closed session. The recommendation that in accordance with the sections 66(1) and 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act of 2020, the meeting to be closed to members of the public for consideration of the following confidential items: 16.1 Community Service Awards of 2026, and 16.2 the Curbside Food Organics Garden Organics, known also as FOGO, Receivable and Processing Services, contract of 2024-03. I have a mover.
I move that the recommendation is a motion.
Yes, thank you.
Dyrell.
And I have a seconder.
Yes.
All those in favour? Passed unanimously. And so thank you for the public to attend the meeting. Thank you.